5 years after she left office, Germany's longest-serving leader has been immortalized on canvas. The official portrait of former Chancellor Angela Merkel was unveiled in her presence at Berlin's Bode Museum today. It was painted by 28-year-old German-French artist Jérémy Queyras after numerous sittings over several months. It'll be on display at the museum before moving to its permanent place in the Portrait Gallery at the Chancellery in October. Let's bring in DW's chief political editor, Michaela Küfner. Michaela, you covered Angela Merkel for quite a long time. Did her choice of style surprise you, or was she true to form?
No, it didn't surprise me. She clearly made a conscious choice to pick a previously unknown artist, Jérémy Queyras. He's French, Canadian, German. Nobody here in Germany had heard of him. His portrait is very colorful, and yet it's not completely unconventional. It's modern, and she's giving a young person a chance. And where I'm standing right here is where Angela Merkel will be on Wednesday. She will be meeting young scientists who are meeting Nobel laureates at the annual conference of Nobel laureates here in Lindau. And there too, she insisted on absolutely closed doors, no media, no other guests in the room, because she wants to have an open dialogue with young people. And this fits into the many trips I was able to go on with her, where she would always make time to listen to what young people have to say, and she would always make sure to give them a platform. And that's exactly what she's done here. But at the same time, the only thing I'm a bit surprised about is how colorful, how rich in color that painting is in the end.
How does her portrait compare to those of her all-male predecessors?
Well, it is modern, but it's nothing really wild. There's the portrait of her successor is missing, but the spot that is reserved for her is right next to Gerhard Schröder, and now we have to go way back in history. That was in 2005 that Angela Merkel took over from him. It took him some 3 years to get his portrait done by Jörg Ummendorf, a very famous painter here in Germany. Gerhard Schröder, the Social Democrat, also liked a bit of a wild stroke there. We even see some gold in the picture way before the time that anybody would have ever put a penny on Donald Trump becoming US president, with him, of course, loving gold as a color and as a kind of opulence. And before that, Helmut Kohl looks exactly like he went into the history books, very much a conventional painting that clearly wants to mark somebody who's left his mark on German history. So it is very modern, it is very colorful, but is not completely unconventional. It appears open-minded, which is exactly how Angela Merkel did remain over those 1.5 decades in office.
And it is, of course, how she would like to see herself, how she likely views her, her policies, how she acted throughout these years. But 5 years after leaving office, how do Germans look back at the time under her leadership?
Yes, it's a bright, it's a colorful portrait. That's how she wants to be seen. That's no longer how Germans necessarily see her. There's a lot of issues that Angela Merkel can rightly claim where she was a political pioneer. Very early on, when she came into office, she identified digitization, the need for reform, climate change as key concerns for Germany. And yet, 1.5 decades later, that digitization just didn't happen. The issue of climate change, she herself, in one of her final press conferences, was frustrated that she didn't manage to achieve more. Her, of course, saying that she couldn't find the majorities, while others saying, well, you should have created those majorities and convinced people. And now her other successor, Friedrich Merz, from her own conservative camp, is in a situation where he no longer has the time to postpone any reforms. And that's why we're also seeing a ferocious debate in Germany about how drastic these reforms reforms have to be. This is the pension reform, of course. Also, her Russia policy really deflated. She is the one who led Germany into energy dependency upon Russia. She's the one who was very late to say that the Nord Stream project was more than an economic project, that it was actually highly political. So it appears the more distance Germans have to the Merkel years, the more they feel a sense of nostalgia for the stability she provided, but also the more critical voices we hear about the legacy she actually left and the issues she left open for Germany.
DW's chief political editor, Michaela Küfner. Thanks so much, Michaela.